Hey there drone fans, Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to cover the various charging options for your Mavic 2 Quad and show you two brand new products that I've been testing for the last couple of weeks that will help to get you out the door and up in the sky as quickly as possible. Now I'll start with the DJI products and talk about the home charger and the car charger just to give you a feel for what those products can provide. Then I'll do a brief review of a brand new 6-in-1 home charger and a 3-in-1 car charger, which are both exceptional options to get your batteries charged quickly and safely, again to get you back out and flying. So let's start with the DJI products. When you bought your Mavic 2 Quad, you got this home charger. It didn't matter if you bought the Pro or the Zoom, it had the same charger in it. It provides a really good way of charging your batteries and some external devices. You've got a single connection here for your battery. On the side, you've got a hidden connection, which is a micro USB for the controller, and you've got a full-size USB-A down the bottom. Now, when I first started using this, it got hot. And I talked about it in the original clip that I did reviewing the product, and I thought to myself, that should not be getting hot. So the geek in me looked a little further into it, and what you'll find is the battery connection on this will supply 17.6 volts at 3.4 amps. And if you do the math on that, that's 60 watts. The charger's rated at 60 watts, which means if you're connecting up a single battery to this, you're using all the power this charger can provide. If you at the same time connect up this USB-A connection, which is 5 volts at 2 amps, that's 5 volts at 2 amps, both of those are 10 watts. So if I connect up 3 devices, I'm asking a 60 watt power supply to charge 80 watts worth of energy. So the challenge is, you can do it, and I know a lot of people plug everything in at the same time and just let it charge, but you're stressing the power supply, and second, you're slowing down the charge on all 3 of those devices. So my recommendation out of the gate was to use this thing to charge a battery. When the battery's charged, then go at it with both of these USB connections to charge whatever devices you need to. But that does slow you down. I mean, obviously you can't charge them all at the same time and expect it to happen quickly. Let's talk about the car charger. Now the car charger, ironically, delivers more current to this connection. So again, 17.6 volts, but it does it at a full 4.5 amps, which is the maximum current that those batteries can be charged at safely. So when I travel around with these two chargers, I plug this one in my car, I've got an AC outlet, and I've got a DC outlet, obviously, for 12 volts. I plug them both in. I find that batteries on this one charge a lot faster than they do on this one, and it's obvious because of the amount of current it can deliver. Now, I run those batteries down to, say, 25% roughly, and again, it varies depending on how much I'm flying, and I find that on average, about a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half with this guy, sometimes less than an hour with this guy. So the current definitely does make a difference between the two. And again, I'm not here to knock on these products. People are going to ask me, well, why'd they make this only a 60 watt charger? Because it's a portable charger. Because if you have something this big, it's no longer portable. So they made sort of a compromise between charging it quickly and the portability. And I think they did a great job with it. So both of those products work great. And again, if you own that one, use that one. But I want to talk about these two other products over here because there are companies that build products as aftermarket accessories, and what I do on the channel all the time is when new stuff comes out, I'll buy a bunch of different versions of it. So I actually bought 5 of these, and I think I bought 7 of these from different manufacturers, brought them in, and was testing them for the last couple of weeks. And these are the two that I've settled on, and I know a lot of you have been asking me, Rick, what do you recommend in that space? That's what I'm going to talk about today. So this 6-in-1 home charger provides 4 separate connections for the batteries that'll actually charge them at the same time. Let me talk about this a little bit too. I forgot to mention that. So if you bought the Flymore combination, you got this beautiful little charging hub, which connects up to this charger on the bottom. You plug it in here. And then what would happen is you could put 4 batteries in here, and the charging hub has brains inside of it. And when you plug in those 4 different batteries, it looks at all the 4 batteries and determines which battery needs the least amount of charge. It charges that one first. The other 3 sit there idle. When that one's finished and it's full, it turns off, and then it goes back and looks at the other batteries that are in there and finds the one that needs the least amount of charge next in order, starts charging that one. So it'll sequentially walk its way through the batteries, but it can't charge those batteries at the same time because there's only 60 watts of power in this thing to charge those batteries. So it's running flat out to charge the batteries. If at the same time you start charging USB devices, it's going to take a lot longer to charge those batteries. But the point I'm trying to make with this is, even though I've got 4 connections, I'm still only charging 1 battery at a time. So you know, it's okay for me because that's sort of an overnight or an afternoon charging where I'm not in a hurry, but I needed something that would charge those batteries more quickly and again, still be safe. So that's the charging hub. So what this product does, again, is it provides the ability to charge up to 4 of these batteries simultaneously. Now, from a specification perspective, it'll deliver 17.6 volts at 4.5 amps. So it's giving you the full current to all 4 of these at the same time. It also has 2 USB-A connections on the back that you can use to charge external devices at 2 amps each. So again, 5 volts at 2 amps. So what you're getting essentially inside this unit is 4 of these guys, and it gives you the ability to charge everything simultaneously. So I'll show you how to do that. The way I work with this, I got an AC cord here someplace, here we go, is I turn this guy off, and I plug in the batteries first. So I'll start with this battery that's on the table, just to show you that I'm not fooling here that it actually does charge 4 batteries simultaneously. Let me get the second one set up. And I leave this in the house, and what I'll do is when I come in from a long day of flying, maybe I'm going to go back out that afternoon, I'll put the charger on the 4 batteries and start the charging. And what I'm finding is because it charges them simultaneously, I end up with all 4 of the batteries, again, about a 25% discharge. I should say 25% capacity left in it, 75% discharge. I find about an hour's worth of charging takes place. Now I'll turn this on. Now those batteries are going to take a second to wake up, and this is testing them to see which needs what amount of charge, and it's making adjustments. I didn't mention that this charger is incredibly smart, and what I mean by that is it's got overcurrent protection, over voltage protection, inrush current protection. Even though the batteries are smart and they've got intelligence inside of them to protect against those kind of things coming at it, this guy makes sure that the power is conditioned. Now one thing I did notice about the 5 that I tested, actually one of them came out of the box dead, and I just put it aside, but the other 4 that survived the power on was that a lot of them were noisy. And what I mean by that is DC has to be 5 volts with no little wiggle in that waveform, because the cheaper power supplies can't do a good job of filtering out all of that little ripple that comes through on the AC, on the DC. So if it's pushing that ripple towards the batteries, then the batteries have to handle that and have to clean it up. So the fact that this was the cleanest of the group, it's grounded, it's got a fan built in, it's intelligent that if you're only charging 1 battery, maybe it won't turn the fan on because it doesn't need to cool anything down. You hook up 4 batteries, it's going to turn the fan on to keep it cool. So you can see all 4 of these are charging at the same time. Now in addition to that, I've got a controller that I want to charge, and I've got my iPad. So I can use a cable. Now I'm going to talk about these cables in a second. I've mentioned it before in the channel. This is a universal cable that I like to use, and we have them available on the website. Essentially, you've got a USB-A connection on this end, you've got an Apple connection on the top, and if you pull that off, you've got a micro USB connection underneath. So it allows you to charge, you know, in my case, the iPad on the Apple connection and the controller on the micro USB connection. So I'll plug this guy in, and let's charge my iPad. Let's do that first. So I'll connect that back up, pull the iPad out, and I'll plug in that. I don't know if you could hear that pop on, but you can see that it's charging at this point. So that guy's charging. Now I've got one more of these cables, and again, these are really handy and they're not that expensive, but this one's going to be micro USB. So let's get this out of the way. So I use the micro USB connection, pull that Apple connection off, plug that guy in, and once I make the connection, I connect up the controller on the side, and you can see that's charging as well. So what I've got now is I've got everything charging at the same time on that same power supply. And again, it's a safe way to charge them. It's an intelligent power supply. It's built to be smart and protective of these devices, because each of these batteries is fairly expensive. The controller's expensive. I don't even know what your external device is, but everything is expensive with those. You want to make sure you get a power supply that gives you clean power at the current you need. And again, the fact that it can do 4 of these simultaneously to full 4.5 amps means that everything you see here on the table, on average for me, charges in an hour or less, which means I can come home in the afternoon, throw everything on here, turn it on, and get back out the door as quickly as possible. So that's the 6-in-1 home charger. The 3-in-1 car charger is similar, and what you get with the 3-in-1 car charger, let me turn that fan off. What you get with the 3-in-1 car charger is 2 connections for your batteries. These are, again, 17.6 volts, and they're 2 amps each, so they're not a full 4.5. And you're thinking, well, why would you do that? The truth is, when I go out to fly most days, I'm driving to a location, I'll put the quad up, maybe I'll go through a battery or 2, and then I drive to another location. I want to charge both of those batteries, so I plug this thing in, charge the batteries, connect them up to the end, drop this on the floor, and let them charge when I'm driving to the second location. There is another version of this charger that charges a single battery at 4.5 amps like this guy does, and both of those still give you a USB, a single USB on the end. And I'm not sure which of the ones of those 2 you guys would prefer. I'm carrying this one because when I found testing both of those, I always went to this one because I always had 2 batteries I wanted to trickle charge while I was driving. But if you guys comment below that you think the other one is a better one for us to carry, I can bring those in as well. Both of them work really well. It's just charging a single battery wasn't appealing to me. I like charging 2 batteries and 1 external device on it. So all of these products are available on our website. I've got links below where you can go find them, including these universal cables. I do want to caution you that there are a lot of companies that are jumping into this market. This seems to be a very, very active market for these kind of chargers. So be really careful when you look at a product that, number one, it's got the protections built in, the overcurrent, undercurrent, power factor, which is the inrush current, the temperature sensing, because you don't want this thing to go non-linear and damage all your devices. The second thing is a lot of them are lower current. So when you look at these, make sure that you're getting a full 2 amps from the USB-A connection, and you're getting at least 2 amps on these connections. Better yet if you get a 4.5, especially if you're charging a single battery on it. So just some things to keep in mind. And again, I love flying, and I'm always looking for ways to make my experience better, less expensive, more fun, and certainly out there as much as possible. So something like this allows me to connect everything everything up, charge all my stuff in one shot, and then get back outside and start flying again, because for me, this is all wasted time charging stuff. And I'm sure you're feeling the same. So that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions about anything I've covered, drop them in the comments below. And as I mentioned before, if you want to support the channel, I've got all this stuff in stock on our website. You probably can find it on Amazon and a bunch of other places. But again, if you want to help us out on the channel, hit the links below and buy these products. We'll ship them right out to you. So thanks again for watching. And until next time, happy flying.